During the years immediately following World War II, against the background of the Cold War tensions raging between the United States, Russia, and China, testing on atomic and hydrogen bomb weaponry was conducted extensively to determine its effectiveness. Often that meant exposing human beings, sometimes U.S. military personnel, to the possible radiation fallout effects. Two of those veterans, plus one of the scientists who helped create the hydrogen bomb, will be taking part in a discussion held at the Manchester Community Library at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 31st. The discussion will be led by Gary DeFore, a local resident from North Rupert, and a former staff member of the U.S. Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. The two veterans who will be taking part in the discussion will describe their experiences as well as the aftermath, which includes the health issues they attribute to the atomic-era testing and their often frustrating dealings with the Veterans Administration. Earlier this month, DeFore sat down with GNAT TV for a conversation about the presentation.
I had an idea to do a documentary on this, meaning go visit these atomic veterans if you can find them and ask them what they did at the experiments, what they were told to do and not to do, if anything, and any cancers they had out throughout their lifetime. The youngest age is 81 now. The oldest I found, I think, is 92, who actually is a chemical engineer. I talked to him today on the phone that helped put together the plutonium for the Nagasaki bomb, the fat bomb. He stood in next to a trough with just heavy gloves on in 1944, and over the years he got different types of cancer in the mid-region and private area.
So is this a case where the government just didn't understand the potential ramifications of the testing, or
they did? Correct, they did not, and this is well known. I have the papers, and the scientists, they put all these materials together, Andrew, and they had never done it before, but they've done it on paper, and mistakes were made. And not only did it work, but 90% of the time it was more powerful than they thought. So they had to tone it down a little bit on paper. The two atomic veterans I have, I call them victims, were at the hydrogen, the H-bomb testing areas. And one received a lot of radiation, and he actually had to do work at it after he got out of the foxhole, after the H-bomb went off. His job was to grab his partner with a cheap Geiger counter, and the two of them had to walk, are you ready? Ground zero, about a half an hour after the bomb went off. Well, it would beep like crazy, and he'd have to use a radio to call into the captain or lieutenant and say, we got a lot of radiation, and they would say to him, well, back up, go around another way, and try to go to ground zero. Now, that Mr. Cone will be there at the talk. He's from Massachusetts, Plainfield, not too far from here, and he's 100% total and permanent disabled atomic veteran, his whole spine, and he and his wife, Ann, had two daughters. They're in their late 50s. Between his two daughters, 5 miscarriages. No children, no grandchildren, and one of the daughters, Rachel, will be coming to the talk.
For more information about the event, visit the library's website at mclvt.org.